it's me again. Anyways, today I'm gonna be like talking about um, boarding school experience and a weird story that kind of stuck with me my whole life. So, when I was in primary, I was in boarding school. It was like weekly, so we went home on Fridays and we came back every Sunday and just spent the week there. And like, we'd go to school with other kids who weren't like boarding, so like some of them were daily scholars and some of them were boarding school scholars. Anyways, like if you went to school in South Africa, I'm sure you know all the creepy stuff about like the theories like Pinky Pinky. I don't actually know much about Pinky Pinky, but I wasn't actually scared of her, because a lot of kids are terrified of Pinky Pinky. So if you don't know who Pinky Pinky is, basically it's like a non-binary demon that like haunts kids in school bathrooms. Like you summon it. It's kind of like Charlie, but I don't know Charlie. It's kind of like that thing, but it's pink. Nobody actually knows what it looks like. Everybody has a different theory, but yeah. So like a lot of people know about that, but boarding school is a whole other experience. Like we don't have Pinky Pinky. We have like a spectrum of beings, if I can say that. So like you had people screaming in the middle of the night, they possessed now. You have like people with ancestral spirits, like Zangoma, which is like a witch doctor, which is a whole other topic. But yeah, we have that. So like we'd have a lot of random screaming at night, and then, but to me that was all not really, didn't stick with me. But what did was, so in my boarding school, um, we had boys and girls, and we were separated by like a long passage, and then on one side it's boys, and then on the other side is girls. So we had like 4 beds in each room, and we'd have like 4 dorms in one section, because we'd have like 2 sections for girls and boys. And yeah, so in my room there were like 4 beds, and what would happen is you bring your friends from other rooms into your room, and then you guys like join beds and sleep together. So you'd have like 6 people sleeping on 2 beds, and these are single beds, so they're tiny. And then what you have to do is that you have to quickly wake up before the teachers wake up and go to your room, which is a whole other sport, but it was fun. And yeah, so this one night it was raining heavily, and the teacher that was in charge that night was still kind of new, so nobody was really scared of him, like at all. So like we just did whatever we wanted, and then he was in charge, and he wouldn't really. He was still trying to be liked by us. Like he was trying to make an impression, trying to be like the cool teacher and whatnot. But like we just thought he was the dumb teacher. But anyways, this one night it was storming and it was raining like heavily, so it was scary. So a bunch of us and like our friends got in like this one dorm, the biggest dorm, and we put all the beds together, and there was like 10 of us, 9 of us, yeah. It was like me, my best friend, her sister, and like some other girls. It's like yeah. So now you'd imagine that since it's scary and it's storming, we're just gonna huddle up and tell funny stories and like try to keep each other calm. But that's not what happened. In fact, we did the opposite. Because we were kids and we had a thing for the scary. So what happened was we all had to tell scary stories, right? Like I told this story I made up, wasn't really that scary. It was like about a teddy bear that um this child got, and then they grew a bond, and like they became really close, and the child had to like leave the teddy bear behind once the family was moving, but it didn't know that the teddy bear like was sentient in a way. So kind of had a vendetta, and like it knew how to get to the right places. So somehow, somewhere, it ended up in the store, and they put this teddy bear for that girl's little sister, not knowing it was the same teddy bear, and then the teddy bear ended up killing everybody in the house because they left it behind. So scary, kind of, not really. But my friends told me like two of the scariest stories I've ever heard in my life. They're not even like that scary. They're just like they stuck with me for life. So the first one was about this guy. Um, he was hiking with his friends, right? Like in the woods, and then somehow they like fell asleep, right? Because I guess they were camping, so they ended up sleeping. Then when he wakes up, all of his friends are gone, and he's the only one left behind. So now everything's gone. There's no more food. His friends are gone. There's no way to contact them. There's no service in the woods. So like he starts walking around looking for shelter, looking for food, and he's kind of scared because it's scary in the woods. Duh. And then he finds this one cabin. Like it's a rustic looking cabin. It looks kind of decent. So he's like, okay, maybe there's people here that can help me. So he goes and he knocks, and then nobody answers. Even better, there's nobody there. So he goes in by himself. And like there's food, there's water, there's everything he needs. So he's so happy. So he eats and he drinks water. And like while he's doing everything, he realizes something strange. So like there's paintings on the wall, like of people, like creepy faces, like really scary, like. And okay, what about the faces? See, the thing about these pictures is he feels like the eyes are following him around. Because, like, they just like, like moving with him. And he goes and he thinks, you know what? I'm tired, I'm hungry. Maybe I'm just paranoid, you know? I just need to get some rest. And in the morning, I'll be clear minded. Right? So there's pictures on the wall following him with the eyes. He goes to sleep, he wakes up in the morning, there's no pictures. No pictures. It's just windows. It's like, what? Anyways, he just thinks, you know what? See, I was being paranoid. There's nothing. So he goes home, finally, since he had the strength to walk out of the woods, you know. And when he gets home, he hears news that in those woods, there's like 4 cannibals. And they just hiding in there and they eat people. So, guess what those pictures were? Okay, that's like the least spooky one out of the 2. Second one might cause you to never be able to look through a keyhole again, because I haven't looked through a keyhole since grade 6. And I'm serious about this. I can't do it. Can't do it. So, this one goes. So there's this guy, and he just got a new apartment, right? And he goes there to the receptionist, and she gives him the key. And she explains the rules and the regulations of the apartment and whatnot. And then She goes on to say that next door to your room is a room with no number. You know, like um, most rooms will have numbers on top of the door, but the one next to him doesn't have a number. And she says that no matter what you do, don't look through the keyhole, don't look under the door, don't try to peek in any way. Like, nobody lives there, but just don't do that, right? He goes, oh, okay. He probably wasn't even gonna do that if she didn't say that. So he goes to his room. While he's opening the door, he thinks, that's strange. Why would she say that? I wouldn't have thought to look in, right? Because why would you just think of looking into people's doors? Goes in his room, he's really tired. Wakes up the next morning and he has to go to work. And he thinks, I wonder what is in that room that is so secret, you know? And then he's like, okay, let me just leave it alone. Goes to work, comes back after work, and he thinks, let me just look under the door to just, because why is it so hidden, right? Why am I not supposed to know? What if there's criminals or something being hidden there, right? I don't know what he was thinking. But then he looks under the door and he sees like
a white lady, like a very pale lady, like she looks white, right? And like, what's so strange about that? And like, the whole night he's just thinking, she said there was nobody living there, so what's that lady doing there? That's very strange, right? So, like, shrugs it off again, so he can sleep. So he sleeps, and then the next morning, when he's going to work, he says, you know what? Since maybe I didn't see clearly. Maybe there's something else to see. Why? Again, I don't know. Why he just couldn't mind his own business. But then he says, you know what? Let me just peek through the keyhole. So he peeks through the keyhole, and he sees red. Like, everything is just red everywhere. Right? Strange. So he thinks, you know what? Maybe they saw that I looked and they painted everything red just to like mess with me. I don't know why he's so special, but that's what he thought. And then he just goes to work. Then when he comes back from work, he goes to the receptionist and he goes, so why am I not supposed to peek? What's so special about that room? Right? And she asked him if he peeked, and he says no, because she told him not to do that. And she says, okay, since you're so curious, before you even peek, let me tell you the story, so that you don't feel like peeking, right? Because you're growing curious. Which she should have done in the first place. She didn't. Anyways, she says, there's a couple that used to live there. They were married, and the lady was very pale. Like, she almost looked nearly white. Like, she was so pale. And they used to fight all the time. And one day, the husband murdered the wife there, and he fled the scene. So he's like, oh, okay. He says she's pale. She's like, yeah. She is very pale, and she has red eyes. She has red eyes. So the first time he looked, he saw a white woman. The second time he looked, he saw everything red. Okay, so if you don't get it, I'm just gonna say it. When he saw red, since she has red eyes, he was peeking through the keyhole, and she was also peeking through the keyhole. Imagine peeking through a keyhole. And there's a ghost inside, peeking right back at you. Okay? So, thank you. Her name was, the girl that told me the story was Nolwazi, so I just want to say thank you, Nolwazi, for teaching me to mind my own business. Because since that day, since that night, I can never look through your peephole again. You messed up my mind. Thank you for that. Okay, so if you made it to the end of the video, thank you for your patience, and leave a comment if you have like scary, spooky short stories